Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new season of Limitless Racing. I am the new commentator for Div 2, Toasty Oven Bread. I am your host, and I will be with you here tonight as we watch these 14 wonderful drivers race around Sao Paulo, Brazil. I'm not entirely sure how many laps in this race that we'll have, but it is a 50% race, so we are in for the long haul. Sector 3 is Sector 2 time's going to be a 110.5 as he heads into the Sector 3, one of the more fun parts of this track in my opinion, as he will be flat out as he heads into what would be the DRS zone, but once again, because of the rain, does not allow for that, as he will cross the line. 129.6 will be the standard set by Metal God and his Haas. We'll have to watch to see if people are going to be able to put up laps faster than that. Moving over to the Sauber of Dust Incredible. He is also on the full wets, nobody taking the risk on the inners just quite yet. But I will not be surprised if we get there eventually. Looking at the tires, looks like some people in the pits are ready for the inters. My apologies. The Ferrari of Nerf or Nothing, Project Nemesis in his Mercedes, and Topple in the Alpine. As Dust Incredible goes 123.9 to set the fastest lap. On air with Mike D goes fastest, 123.4. And his Mercedes showing great times here in the rainy Sao Paulo. DGAF going 125.3 as Rose Pisati goes 125. DAIZ goes 126.2 for P6 as IUF1 Snipez goes fastest, 122.2. First into the 122s. So very nice for that Red Bull driver, the lone Red Bull out on track tonight. Metal God coming across the line yet again, 124.6 for him. P4 for the Haas driver. As we will jump over to Rasam Maffeo, I hope I'm saying that right, through the sweeping left-hander into Sector 3 as he gets a purple Sector 2. And to the flat-out bit, he's going to have to burn a lot of battery here. Let's see where he can put his time, looking to maybe put into that top 5 or that pole if he's able to, cutting to the left side of your track. 123.9 goes Rasam, going P3 for his Ferrari. Bearing through. Dust Incredible across the line to go 0.5 faster, 123.5 for the Kick Sauber. As on air with Mike D goes fastest, 122.1, swapping positions back up to the top. Project Nemesis 125.3 on the enter, so maybe just not quite yet ready for them as Arab Knight is going to be heading out. Rasam Maffeo going ready as as IUF1 Snipez goes fastest, 121.6. This Red Bull and Mercedes driver swapping times on that pole position, so they'll be key eyes to watch. Taz Soul going to be starting his lap in the Aston Martin. Nerf for Nothing going 122.5 on the inters, so maybe they are ready. Just gonna have to wait and watch and see if other people want to head out on the intermediate set of tires. Arrow Knight and his Williams heading through Sector 2 and its sweeping left-hander into one of the heavier braking zones in this earlier part of these sectors. He's going to continue heading through into yet another left-hander into a very tricky right-hander. I guess this is a left-hander as well. So many left-handers at this track. Oh my goodness. Heading through the hairpin. Heading down. Going to be looking to get a great time as he heads into Sector 3. straight. What will he be able to set as he will be going on that left side of the line? 0.5 faster, go 1:21.9 P2 for that Ferrari driver. Definitely looking like it's inter-tire condition now. Using all of his ERS as he will cross the line 1:22.4 to go P4 for the Ferrari driver. Teammate not yet setting a lap. Goes faster with a 1:23.7 for that McLaren driver. Here comes a Totzel and his Aston Martin, going to go 5 seconds faster, 1:24.8 for the Aston. Faster. Nerf for nothing, purple sector 2 as we join him as he heads into purple, into the sector 3, my apologies. He'll be looking to put himself on that pole time. Just 0.3 separates him and Snipes. He'll be looking for something. 1:21.5 to shoot up to the top. Setting the new standard for that provisional pole. But Snipes coming out of the pits just now. Wanting to take that. I know that he does. DAIZ crossing the line on the wets. Snipes going to be starting his lap very, very shortly. On air with Mike D. Maybe going to be able to get yet another one out. Will Dustin Incredible be able to improve? No, he will not. He might be able to pump out another one, though. Same with Project Nemesis, if they're quick enough. Aerodynite in his Williams. He'll be sitting a lap time looking for something. 1:25.1, not able to improve. So the Williams will stay. Metal God improving 0.2 to P6. I don't think he moved up any positions. Here's the Ferrari with Sam. Not able to improve, so he'll stay P4. BGAF looking to be about 0.3 up on his time. Not going to be improving just yet. Will he improve as he crosses the line? No, he won't. 0.4 slower. A Totzel not going to be going faster. Nerfer nothing not going to be going faster. IU F1 Snipes, he's going faster. He's on his lap. Looking to be the final, maybe quickest lap of the session as he is going to be improving 0.3. Purple Sector 2, he's looking for something. He's going to make a name for himself here. The Red Bull driver, as he invalidates his time. I think he would have stolen the pole position, but that invalidation ruining it for him. He will not be improving. But on air with Mike D shoots to the top. 1:21.3 on the wets. Going fastest. That Mercedes driver gonna be happy with that one. Project Nemesis looking to be running out of fuel just before the line. Very unfortunate as he was looking on for a great, great lap. Padassi and his Williams for the wets. 1:22.7. So it looks to be maybe a little bit of a gap here. Going to be keeping an eye on that in the race. Haas driver Metal God goes P7, 1:22.8. Project Nemesis P8 for 1:23.5. And their Mercedes DGAF McLaren P9, 1:23.7. DAIZ going P10, 1:24.5 on the full wets. A Tonsol, 1:24.8 for the Aston. Aerodynite Williams, 1:25.0. And then Troito and the McLaren and Tapapi and the Alpine not setting lap times. Here we have the grid. They're going to be doing their formation lap here in Sao Paulo. On air with Mike D. On pole position for Mercedes. He set an excellent lap on the full wet tires. Nerf for nothing, sitting in P2 right behind him for Ferrari, making his team very, very proud. IUF1 Snipe is in P3, the lone Red Bull out on track, looking to do something. He was showing very, very quick laps in qualifying. Will he be able to show it up in the race, though? Dust Incredible sitting in P4 for Kick Sauber, the lone Kick Sauber on track. He's going to be looking for something, the Kick Sauber. sitting in P4. He could easily turn this into a podium, but it all depends on how safe he plays into turn 1. Where Sam in P5, his teammate sits in P2. So he'll be maybe looking to do something to help his teammate, whether that's slow down the rest of the pack or maybe try to jump some positions so that he's up there as well. Azores Padassi, I'm going to keep saying that wrong, the Williams driver. His teammate sitting in P12, so he has a lot to show off here today. Metal God, he was the first driver to set a lap in qualifying. The lone Haas out on track, he's going to be looking for something. He was showing some quick laps in qualifying. Project Nemesis, his teammates on pole, so he has a lot to show off today. DGAF, P9, DAIZ P10, Zotzel in P11, Aerodynite in P12, Troito P13, and Tapapi P14. And away we go! Oh, 5 red lights! And away we go! And away we go for the Brazilian Grand Prix! Mike on air, on top, looking as he is just going to be getting this first place very, very easily, watching and waiting for the chaos in the back. No yellow flags out yet, so it looks like everyone's going to be escaping with their lives for the most part, unless I miss something. The two Williams side by side as they head down. Mr. Azores getting passed by the Alpine now, down into 12th place. On air with Mike D keeping his spot. Same with Nerf Enough and IU. F1 Snipe is sitting pretty in P3. We're Sam moving up in position on the kickstopper. Project Nemesis moving up a couple. As there's yellow flags in the back for a McLaren driver of Troito. But Mike still leading this Grand Prix after the first half of this lap as Troito retires in the very back on track. Where Sam has a lot of work to do. They just need to put pressure on the Red Bull and maybe help their teammate out. The McLaren, the lone McLaren out on track now after the other one retirement. Looking, and P8 looking to maybe make a move soon, but they have to deal with this Aston driver as the Aston driver heads down the inside of the McLaren driver, getting the position, but the McLaren driver's not done. He's not done with that move, but Aston says goodbye! Goodbye, DGAF! But DGAF says goodbye to you! They're fighting wheel to wheel, the Aston and the McLaren. The McLaren going off track. Looks like maybe that's going to be the end of that battle, but no! DGAF going down the inside, trying to make something happen, but he's going to lose that place. And Zotzel up into P8, DGAF down to P9. As we missed the move for the lead, it looks like, is on air with Mike D drops down to P3. Nerf for Nothing now leads. Where Sam has a lot of work to do here now, as Nerf leads the race. Where Sam could be a big help here in Nerf for Nothing's win if he can push and put a lot of pressure on this Mercedes and then on the Red Bull as well, as Nerf for Nothing gets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Very good for that Ferrari driver as he's sitting quite pretty in P1, putting a roundy 7/10 gap now. He's going to be looking to break that DRS from the driver behind if he can. Looking back down at this battle for P8, DGAF has the DRS. He's going to be on the outside of the Aston Martin. They're going to go wheel to wheel as he goes around this left corner again. We saw them race here last lap as Metal God gets by Dustin Incredible. The McLaren driver is still on that inside as he takes P8. And Zotzel now down to P9. We're Sam within 5/10 of on air with Mike. So he could be looking for a move very shortly, which could put a double podium for Ferrari if they can keep up the pace. The two Williams drivers sitting very close to each other. They have a lot of work to get both cars back into the points. I guess only one car back into the point. you know. Rassam tried to go for a move. Nothing came of it. Rassam now on the inside as he puts himself into P3. Right now, he's looking for a podium. But he is out of the DRS of Snipers in front of him as DGAF and Adatzel go racing again. In the exact same corner, the two make contact. DGAF forced off track. And now he's going to be sitting behind the Aston driver. Thinks about a move. Ducks back into place. Snipers getting closer and closer as he watches Nerf or Nothing go around the track. He sits behind. He is just waiting for an ample opportunity, which could come at any point. A little bit of smoke from the Red Bull driver, but he seems to be having a lot of pace here. The two side by side as they head into the DRS zone. Who's going to have the more speed? The Ferrari driver maybe having a little more DRS to burn. Snipe is having the DRS. He's going to be getting that move done before the first corner. Very, very nice for the Red Bull driver. Now, Nerf or Nothing has a lot of work to do to keep up with Snipers and put himself back in the lead. Dotzel in the back now as he's going to head into pit. Maybe he got a little bit of damage from that contact. On air with Mike D going off track. Wow. Dustin Incredible and Project Nemesis going wheel to wheel. Dustin Incredible getting the position up. Watching Arab Knight now look for a move on DGAF. DGAF just can't catch a break from people. Arab Knight trying to go around the outside of the McLaren driver. Big hit there as he's going to lose his right end plate. I think he maybe just had a little bit of a mistake there. I don't think I would put blame on either driver there. Nerf or Nothing still sitting in P2. He's going to have the DRS here, though. So if he saved up enough battery, he's going to go for something. And yeah, he's going to get the move done very, very nicely. We can watch these two drivers just swap positions, try to pull away from the rest of the grid. We'll just have to see how they want to play this. Because both want to lead, because that dirty air is going to ruin your tires if you're not careful. The Alpine driver looking on the Williams of Arab Knight. Arab Knight does have that end plate damage that we saw him receive. The Alpine driver going on the left side, on the inside, going to get the position before the corner. A wonderful, clean DRS overtake. The Williams driver sticking behind, still sitting in P10. That end plate damage is going to be costing them time. Watching them just slip 10th from 10th away from P9. And out of the DRS range now, the Williams driver struggling with that damage. Snipers could be looking for something here. The gap is 5/10, so I doubt it as the Ferrari driver dips a tire into that yellow paint, bringing up some of that dust and grime that sits there because it doesn't usually get used. His teammate in a very, very similar situation, Rassam. And on air with Mike, sitting P3, P4 away from the rest of the grid, just like his teammate and Snipers are doing. Snipers trying to go for a move under Nothing, not able to do anything into that corner though. On air with Mike, maybe slipping out a little bit. His times have been looking a little slower. He was really, really close with Rassam. Now he's dropped back a little bit. We'll have to see how he can manage that. The Alpine driver slipping out of the DRS of DGAF. So DGAF's going to be able to take a deep breath now as he's been dealing with people attacking him so far all race. Mike getting closer and closer to Rassam. He was slipping away, but now with this long DRS straight, he might be able to have a chance here. But we're going to jump back up to the top because the Snipers is getting closer. There's a great opportunity here as he's going to have the DRS. He's going to go down the inside of the Ferrari driver, How much of a struggle is Nerf going to be giving him? Not any at all, as Snipers takes the lead once again. Dustin Incredible is going to have the DRS here. He is going to use that to get even closer to the Mercedes driver up ahead. DGAF now within the DRS of DAIZ. I think they actually swapped position. It looks like maybe DGAF had a little bit of a mistake as he drops down a position. So yeah, the gap between second and third, 5 seconds right now. So that's going to be bringing some huge implications as Snipers in the lead has pulled away out of the DRS of Nerf. Nerf not having the DRS down this straight that's so vital for him to have. He's going to lose it again, I think. Snipers, if he wants to pull away, now is the time. Out of that DRS range, out of Nerf's overtaking range. He's just going to be able to keep pulling and pulling. On air with Mike D, still putting up some good laps as he continues to follow Sam. The Ferrari still looking on for a double podium, but on air with Mike D can rob that. And I know that he wants to. He qualified pole position, now he's dropped down to 4th. He's definitely going to be looking to get back onto that podium if given the chance. Just Incredible and the Sauber getting closer and closer to Project Nemesis. Just Incredible qualified at P4, I think. As there looks to be an Williams of Azores spawn out on track in Sector 2. Here's Nerf for nothing as he takes the lead of the Grand Prix once again. But Snipers comes right back, shows no mercy as he gets a 3-second time penalty. So now Nerf for nothing currently the net winner if this continues. Looking very strong against that Red Bull. On air with Mike D, playing around that zone. It is very close. He can be dropped out of DRS at any moment, as he has a little bit of a moment now. He's going to be just outside. Will Sam be able to keep pushing to continue to break that gap? I think that would solidify this maybe double podium for Ferrari as long as nothing goes wrong. Yeah, Mike not going to be having the DRS. He's going to be in a similar situation as Nerf was just a couple laps ago, where it's a question of, do I push to try to get back within that DRS, or do I just kind of continue and do my own race? And I think Mike has kind of taken that latter option as we're seeing that time gap just slowly trickle up and up as Sam pulls away. Nerf sliding around that corner. He is very hungry to stay within this DRS. He's doing whatever he can to make sure that Snipers does not get this win. But Snipers being on those mediums is definitely going to give him the advantage in the second stint, especially if he's able to continue just leading in his first stint. Because the medium tires will be doing so much better, assuming that's what he pits to. In the pack. That's Incredible onto the softs, looking to be going into an aggressive stint, trying to work up the order as he maybe has a little bit of mishap out of the pits. He's going to be coming out really, really close to this Alpine. He's going to be coming out just ahead. That's going to give him the advantage as he continues on. Aero Knight getting closer to the Aston. The Aston on the 5-lap older tires. He's going to be struggling a little more than Aero Knight, who's on the fresher 3-lap old tires. Nerf or Nothing slipping out of that DRS zone, but he still has an obligation to be within that 3-second gap if he wants the race to win as it stands. But this pit stop could change everything. To continue holding his podium position, that's all he needs to do. Nerf coming into the pits. The two doing opposite strategies, so Sam's going to stay out yet another lap. Nerf on to the fresh hards, now going to be on the look to overtake Snipez. He's going to have that undercut advantage, but Snipez is going to be on the softer tires on his next stint, so everything could be shaping up for Snipez to win. But Nerf has the pace, and with these tires, he could be pushing and pushing as he's going to come out just behind Metal God. To continue pushing is a little bit of ghosting going on there as Nerf or Nothing gets by up into P3. His teammate could play a big, big help here. Is there, I think that's maybe Aero Knight. No, never mind. On air with Mike D. He's going to have the DRS on DAIZ as DAIZ is going to head into the pits. Metal God into the pits, same with Project Nemesis. Rassam going to be continuing to stay out as Azores gets a 10-second time penalty for track limits. Passing him as he heads by. What is Rassam going to be coming on to? On to the fresh hards. Nerf or Nothing and Snipez are separated by 19 seconds. So the longer Snipez stays out, the longer that gap's just going to demolish. But now he comes in. He will be on for the fresh mediums, and he will have 16 or so laps to be on the charge to try to find Nerf or Nothing and overtake him. Dustin Credible with a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Snipez is going to be coming out looking like P2. He's going to be able to have enough of a gap between him and Mike where he needs to start putting in some laps here soon. As for Sam overtakes Mike, I wish I would have been able to catch that live. So unfortunate as he gets the overtake with the DRS before the first corner. Mike's going to have the DRS now, though. Is he going to be trying to fight back? I bet he is. The 10-lap old hards maybe showing their wear and tear, though. It's going to be hard for Mark as he has a 3-lap tire difference. So Rassam suffered the short term for the overcut, but now it seems to be paying off as Mike is trying to close that gap between him and the Ferrari driver out in front of him. 5/10 is that gap. Not enough for overtaking, but it could turn into overtaking range very, very quickly as we watch these two continue to drive. Rassam trying to break that DRS gap because he knows that Mike's going to burn and use the DRS to his advantage to try to catch up to him on this main straight. And yeah, that's exactly what we're going to watch here. That DRS flap now opening as Mike drives into the grass a little bit. But that doesn't phase him as he's going to keep going and going. He's going to try to go around the outside of that Ferrari. The two giving each other ample space. The two making contact, though. Rassam continuing to lead the two. And to third, Mike's going to keep his P4. looked like maybe just a little bit of a racing incident there. I think Sam could have given a little more room, but that is a trickier corner to try to make a move into. So I think that that might just come down to a racing incident. Mike continuing to try to push. He's once again going to have that DRS if he can keep it up into that final third sector. He's going to need to put on the works, though. Speaking of someone that needs to put on the works, IUF1 Snipers. That gap still sitting at 7 seconds. He has done nothing to chip away from that. At this point, he needs to find just under like a second a lap to nerf if he wants to take the lead. And then even more, I think that's just about a second a lap on nerf to win because of that time penalty that he has. A Totsol and the Aston Martin, these two made contact last lap. Is there going to be more contact as they head down the DRS straight? The Aston driver on the inside. He's going to go really, really deep there as he's going to go off track. DGAF trying to stick there, though. Not going to be able to do anything. He's going to try to go around outside of the Aston driver. Not able to stick it. DGAF and a Totsol completely fighting for a P9. Aerodynamite maybe now in this action. But I'm looking at the tire difference. A Totsol on the 10-lap-old hards, Aerodynamite on the 11-lap-old hards, and DGAF on the 4-lap-old softs. So you would think that DGAF should be putting in the works here. But he's just been struggling to keep up with these drivers. Not able to take over the place and keep it as he's going to go down the inside once again of the Aston driver. The Aston driver coming back around the outside through the chicane. The two side by side as they head into the DRS zone. Who gets the DRS? Neither. Oh, it's the Aston driver. A Totsol still on the outside as he's going to swing around the outside. He's going to get that place back up into P9. Struggling to hold this P9 position. He's going to get the DRS here, though. Look behind him, that flap open, Aerodynamite trying to push, trying to find it as he gets closer and closer to the McLaren. The McLaren driver still struggling as he has a little bit of a slip up there. Heading it down, he's going to have the DRS off of the Aston driver here, though. Aerodynamite still looking to try to gain and capitalize on anything that he can. Mike coming into the pits. He's going to be putting on, I'm assuming, a fresh pair of softs. He's looking for maybe a fastest lap attempt here. He's going to lose P4. So is the fastest lap worth it at this point? I mean, maybe. Maybe to him. 2 laps remain in this Grand Prix. Nerf or Nothing still putting in some great work to keep pulling a gap to Snipers. We can take a quick look at the time penalties. Oh, wait. There is yellow flags out for Project Nemesis. Those tires not doing him any favors. Looking at the penalties, Snipers has that 3-second that we watched him get. Dustin Credible has a 3-second. The Totsol has a 3-second, and so does Aerodynamite. On the final lap of the Grand Prix, at least for Nerf or Nothing, it has been one heck of a race, but I don't think it's quite time to call it. The gap slowly diminishing. DGAF struggling to stay within that 3-second gap of a Totsol. Will he be able to pull off an amazing P9, the Aston? I don't know. As more and more people start the final laps of the Grand Prix, Nerf or Nothing has officially lapped half of the remaining people on the grid as he gets by Project Nemesis. Arrow Knight has found a tonsil, looking for a move soon, maybe, but will look back up at the front. The man who has led so many laps here in Sao Paulo, showing some amazing, amazing pace compared to everyone around him, pulling a gap on the older, harder tires to the man in second. And it is Nerf or Nothing to take the win in Brazil. Taking P2 for Red Bull. And here comes Rassam and the Ferrari, making it a double podium for the team that is shining red. DAIZ in P8 for Alpine, DGAF P9 for McLaren, the last of the points runners, a Totzel in P10 for Aston. Still had more to say. Here's the podium, though. Nerf or Nothing sits on first after leading so many laps in this Grand Prix. Red Bull of IUF1 Snipers sitting in P2, trying to do so much, but Nerf just had more overall speed. And the other Ferrari sitting in P3. Rassam. Great finish for them. The fastest lap going to On Air with Mike D. Driver of the day is DAIZ, and most overtakes is DAIZ. Nerf or Nothing took home the win. Snipe is in P2, Rassam in P3, Metal God P4, On Air with Mike D in P5. And then here's everyone else. What a race that you had. You were definitely the center of attention for so much of it. First of all, how do you feel getting the first win in this new season?
Man, it feels great. I mean, it's first of all Limitless Racing Season 2, getting off to a great start. Lovely racing for everybody, leaving room for everybody on track, and, starting, in the wet to dry conditions was definitely a straggler for things, like it was a bit of a adaptation, on adapting to wet conditions and then back to dry conditions where, all your braking references are thrown out the window. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, how tell me, like, what were you thinking when you were doing your second stint on those hards, when you were slowly pulling away from Snipes, who should have been theoretically faster than you on the newer mediums?
I was kind of worried about it, to be honest. Snipes is a pretty fast dude. He's pretty consistent, pretty quick. Um, um, he's definitely going to be one to watch out for this season. Same with Rassam, my teammate, and definitely On Air with that podium or that pole position for the start of the season too will be a contender to see on how things will go. I mean, as far as his mediums, by a lap, I knew by a lap, 10 laps in, they were going to start fading away. The mediums around here, I mean, are pretty decent. If you have a setup that's, and you have a smooth driving style, like Brandon Lee says, you're not flicking the wheel all the time, and overheating those fronts, it's definitely not going to be, it's fast for maybe about 5 laps, but you got to think about the long term.
Yeah, I think that's the saying. What, it's slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Yeah, well, great job on your win, and great job for Ferrari for the double podium.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm like to congrat my teammate also. He's definitely he showed out, and
Right.
I'm glad to see another season of Limitless Racing here for you know another one to come.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to interview you.
Try to get Snipes in here if I can.
Yeah, I was hoping that the others would want to, but looks like he said that he didn't want to, and your teammate has to grab dinner.
All right. Well, I appreciate you commentating for tonight, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Oh, I sure
And,
did.
Well, yeah. Thank you, man. I really do
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Well, this has been Limitless Racing Season 2, Division 1. I have been your host and commentator, Toasty and Bread. I might be in the comments box next week. I'll probably will. I hope you all have a great week ahead, and if I don't see you before the holidays, have a happy holiday.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on.